Hi guys, I'm doing a video, I was supposed to I had something right next to me in a video I did yesterday, and the problem was that basically video never got done, mainly because of the capture card I have right here didn't basically pick wouldn't actually work in the BIOS of the computer, or it also it wouldn't work until Windows was actually loaded, so that was an issue. And so you literally missed out. So you missed the the setup of the BIOS and the installation of Windows, and you could actually you it was just pretty much me talking about it, and it was basically um couldn't actually see anything because I couldn't capture it because the capture card wouldn't actually capture it, and the Elgato HD60 could capture it if it was an internal capture card, but there's no adapter to turn it into an external capture card, so to a portable capture card. So I'm sorry, there's like a little glare, but basically, so I during that I did an unboxing of this, the sofabaton U1, which is a remote, a universal remote. So basically, I had a whole bunch of remotes, so I mainly showed three, but as you can, I'm about to show you now. And let's see, there you go. So this is one is my Roku remote for my TV here. This is the Roku remote for my Roku over there that actually is over there, because there's stuff I do on here that I need a Roku for, and also it has a little power button, so it was a smaller remote than the Samsung remote that it came with. Um, but basically, got rid of the Samsung remote. I got rid of this remote, pretty much. Got rid of this remote. I got rid of this remote, which is Roku remote, anywhere remote that has the power button, and also it has a little beacon button on here, which I didn't really use anyway. So this is my projector remote for turning on and off the projector. What makes this one special is the green one is power, the red one is power off. In order to turn it off, you have to double press this twice in order to turn off the projector. This is with mostly any projector, you have to double press the power button. And I wanted to mainly use these. I mainly wanted to replace this remote with this remote, but the problem was with actually this remote, this power button wouldn't work with or the volume buttons wouldn't work with this projector. But a remote like this one, which is the thinner one that uses AAA batteries, would basically work on it anyway. And so the thing is, this one works. This one worked, so I was basically using these two as the primary remotes for my projector and watching stuff. And this one I mainly use for this TV, which is a monitor basically, and I use it for control, like simpler controls, because of and also the Samsung remote I had just basically just like eating bad battery trash at breakfast. So I basically use this one instead. This one basically lasts for 6 months on a single bad battery set, while the Samsung goes through 3 battery sets a week. So that's became a lot of batteries, but basically I just ended up recharging them. So and so that made me want to basically, and this was basically using 2 sets of batteries. So this was using AA, this one was using AAA, and I wanted to basically have, and this was also using AAA right here, but this was for the fan that's right there. You can't see it in the corner, but basically there's a fan there, and this basically also likes going through actually batteries too. So, and so in turn, I replaced this remote, this remote, and this remote with a single remote. So it took like around 30, about 30 to 45 minutes setting it up, because of the one that was in the database was this one. This remote was already in the database. This wasn't in the database. So I had to teach that, which means holding down the power button or whatever button you want to teach the remote. And this one also basically is in the database. But the problem with actually these are you have to, for this specific one I could rename the buttons, but if I tried, remap the buttons for this one, but when I tried to remap this one, I can remap, but this one, when I tried to actually map them, they basically, what happened was it just basically the buttons refused to work, and so haven't figured out what the issue is, but basically there's that. This remote actually has a TV button, so you can power on and off the TV with this. So the projector for mine happens to have this as a power, this as a power, so power on, power off. But it's just a toggle button, so I use just this button to power on and off the projector because it's easier to reach instead of all the way up here. So I can basically just use this button to power on a projector. I can use, if I remember correctly, this is volume up. Yes, volume up, volume down. Okay, directional pad. Mute, and then this is the actual back button. There's one thing I didn't teach it, which was auto, which doesn't really matter. Then these were originally freeze. It freezes a frame, but now those basically do nothing. And number one, these buttons right here are basically freeze frame and freeze frame and zoom in, zoom out. And this button here is source. So there's that, and this is power. For my actual fan controls, the first button here is power, the second button is fan speed, and the yellow button is timer. And then for the monitor, which is this TV right here, it has this button on normal Roku remotes would be this button on here would be normally for Roku remote would be the back button, which should honestly be this button right here, but this is flashback. This is okay. Play and pause are two different buttons, but they do the same exact thing. They both play and they both pause. On this remote, I taught it basically the power button, so I can basically power off. And I also taught it the mute button to mute it, and the volume up buttons to do the volume up and down. And that's what that one it does. And for this one, the actual this one is this button right here is what's it called? Is the back button. This is the flashback button. And then I have a macro that basically does when I press 1. So if I press 2 first and it's on HDMI 1, because that's all I pretty much use on my actual projector. So if it's on HDMI 1 and I press 2, it goes to HDMI 2 by basically doing a macro command by pressing the source button, which on my projector remote slot, this is source, and so it'll press this on in BenQ mode, and then it presses that, then it presses down, and then it presses OK, and it presses this in 0.5 milliseconds, and then this in 0.5 milliseconds, and then OK in 0.5 milliseconds, and then the macro stops. And then if I press number 1, which is the exact opposite, which is it will press the source in 0.5 milliseconds, and then we'll press the up button in 0.5 milliseconds, and then I'll press the OK button in 0.5 milliseconds, and then the macro ends. And then also, if I'm in Roku mode, because if I'm in Roku mode, which is what's that Roku over there is called, if you can probably see it, so actually you can't see it. Actually, there you go. So that Roku right there is an Ultra, and so when basically the actual power button is actually pressed in Roku mode, it basically goes to the macro, but then tells the BenQ projector to turn on. I can press the button, and if I'm in Roku mode, and it can go to HDMI. I mean, it can turn on the projector. So there's that, and then if I press volume down, it'll press volume down, and if I press volume up, it'll go up. In Roku mode, the volume will using the BenQ macro set, and then while in Roku mode, I can basically change the actual source by pressing 1 and 2. And if I'm in the BenQ mode, I can just basically press the source button and then just select down. The reason I have actually the BenQ mode there is because of it's for the need of using with the actual with basically with the it's just there just in case I need to quick power down, and the Roku isn't available at the moment. Also, what I was also doing was so I got a Google Home that I'm putting on this, and so I don't know if it's possible to control the BenQ. Google TV box, which is a little Chromecast device with basically a Xbox One controller. Because if you can, then I can just put that remote with all of these remotes. But if I have to but if I can't, I will basically just teach that remote like this somehow. Yeah, I think it uses Bluetooth. It could use IR, I'm not for sure, but I would just have to because if I can control the actual device with actually the Xbox One controller, that means I basically have only 2 things to have, and this would be for Steam Link specifically only, and this would be for everything else. And the Google Android TV is basically just is basically what I'm going to use for Steam Link. And then my Steam Link, I basically originally got a Steam Link, but I returned it because the Steam Link itself I found a little bit limiting at 100 megabits per second versus because that's fast Ethernet. I'd rather have what's it called gigabit that the Google TV provides with the Ethernet adapter. And if it's not faster than the actual Steam Link, which is specific hardware, but the only difference is the Steam Link basically is 1080p only, while the other one is 4K. And I don't know if I can update the apps automatically because I've never had a Google TV before. This will be the first one. I've had Android TV before, but I'm just talking about these actual this specific device. But basically that's me taking these 4 remotes and just having 2 remotes in general. So, and just to finish this off, there's plastic on here. And now it's done. Oh yeah, just to let you know, there is this wheel right here. So if you scroll it, it shows you what's on the screen, and you can have up to 15 devices. So I don't know if like I can control my lights with actually this, but if I can just basically control my speaker and the stuff. I'll try. I don't know. Let me see. I'll do it live to see. Well, not live recording. Let's see. Where's the little adapter at? Sofabaton app. There it is. Sofabaton app. One second. Okay, I'm just gonna check to see if I can add a light switch. I don't know. Actually, let me try this. If that'll work, then. Okay, yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so thanks for watching. That's just me replacing 4 of these. They're not getting thrown away, of course, or sold. They're just gonna be put into a box with all my other stuff that I have. That I basically trying to replace. So basically, just to explain. So I've used a Logitech Harmony Hub before. Harmony Hub was basically not confusing, but I just couldn't get the macros to work properly. So I ended up basically selling that. I actually returned it and I ended up buying another. The first time I bought, I sold because it basically the actual remote stopped working, and the hub still works. I sold the hub, and then I got another Harmony, and then I actually a couple years later, well, few weeks ago, and then I actually returned that because it just still the software wasn't working for what I needed to do, and basically so I ended up getting this, and it works for everything I needed to do. I can control my devices, and I'm not trying to do anything really fancy other than control my Roku and my projector, which is what I wanted to do, and also control my fan. And this TV was just an actual what you call a plus. And let's see. So yeah, so this looks pretty nice. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.